What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this edition of On the Mark Wrestling Podcast with Quixote and Lewis.
Lewis, what's going on, brother? It's good to see you again. We both you had vacation. I had some PTO birthday time, my brother, and now we're back bringing a brand new episode to the people. Lewis, how you been, man? And I missed this. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little minute, a little hot minute. Vacation is always good. Took a family vacation to my old stomping grounds, New York City. But the weather was very cooperative, so I can't complain, man. We got a lot done in that 10-day span. So I'm good, I'm healthy, ready to rock and roll.
Did you go to the SmackDown MSG show by any chance? Because I absolutely forgot they were going to be in MSG that night. I dropped the ball on that.
No, I was considering it, but it wouldn't have worked out anyway due to the time constraints. But no, I did not. And I would have liked to just to be part of the live audience reaction for the Bloodline segment with Jey Uso, because that always elicits a really loud crowd response. And it came across that way on TV, obviously, because it's New York. So that would have been interesting.
Oh yeah, that would have been dope, man. And the show was actually pretty good. Can't complain.
Yeah, it was a good SmackDown. I just for the price that was being asked for tickets, I don't even think it would have persuaded me enough to dish out the money for something like that. Like, yeah, I get it's Madison Square Garden, but I would have been a little more motivated to spend money on a ticket if it was a pay-per-view event.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Those tickets can be a little ridiculous. WWE should be ashamed of themselves to be asking for such uh high ticket prices, man. You would think you're going to like the Super Bowl or some shit. Like it's crazy.
Well, they present their product as if they have big enough draws for the wrestling audience and the wrestling crowds to dish out hundreds upon hundreds of dollars.
That's true.
Now, that leads us to a very important question. Who is the biggest draw? Or
Mm.
who is the top guy and the top gal of the year? So let's think about 2023, y'all. We're through the first half of the year. We still got a long way to go before we flip the calendar to 2024. But Quixote and I have been thinking in WWE and AEW, because those are the two companies we're going to focus on. Who would we consider so far as the number one male wrestler of the year and the number one female wrestler of the year?
Oof, Lewis, this is man, this is a tough one. Uh I I I definitely think I have my pick for AEW for sure.
So you want to
Um,
roll with AEW first?
yeah, I think we need to roll with AEW first because I really can't think of WWE right now. It's actually really hard right now for me to think of the best wrestler or biggest draw. And for me, it's a lot of things that go hand in hand with this. But Lewis, I'm going to start with AEW's uh, female wrestler big draw of the year, however you want to, phrase it. I got two that came to
Ah,
mind. That came to mind.
okay.
I got your girl Tony Storm,
Oh, that's a good pick.
and I got Athena.
What Athena? Wow. I
Yeah,
didn't I was not expecting that at all.
Athena's a huge Athena's been doing her thing. This heel persona fits. She's been a ROH champion for a minute, and AEW, ROH is under the umbrella of AEW, so that's why I picked Athena. But I think she's done a really good job honing in on the heel Athena. And her in ring, she's been brutal, hard hitting, strong style esque kind of fight patterns and move set. um, yeah, I'm digging this Athena, and I wish she was on AEW television more because I think she needs to be featured more on television. But yeah, her and Tony Storm, I think, are the biggest or the best wrestlers right now on the female side, on the AEW side. I would have to say.
That's that's a very well presented argument, Quixote. I love what Athena has done with her character this year. I can't really put her in my estimation. I can't consider her to be the number one female wrestler of the year. Maybe from a creative standpoint because of what she's done as a heel. But I think overall, when I'm thinking of the total package, because when we say wrestler of the year, we're not just talking in ring work, right? We're talking promo, creative, and just exposure, right? Like, how do I
Yeah.
perceive that person on television? Are they as impactful as they've been on TV for the past 6 7 months? For Athena, we had the pleasure of seeing her work in person at Supercard of Honor,
Yeah,
and
man.
she was really working that crowd. She was excellent.
Yep.
Even though I respect your pick, I'm gonna have to disagree only
Ah,
because
come
she's
on,
not
Lewis.
featured on television enough.
That's
And
what I'm
yes,
saying. She
she's
needs
on
to be on
ROH.
AEW television more.
She should be. If I were Tony Khan, I get that she's on ROH, but I would absolutely put her on Collision like consistently.
100%.
Like she should be one of the roster members of that Saturday show if you're not gonna use her on Dynamite. Now,
Yes.
for female wrestler of the year, yeah, I can dig Tony Storm as a pick too, because Tony Storm has done a 180 with the heel turns. Heel turns seem to do wonders for her for everybody who's struggling with the babyface stuff. But I think in AEW so far this year, I have to give it to Jamie Hayter.
Ah,
I gotta give it
Lu-
to Jamie Hayter because look, she's a little stale right now, but that happens. That's par for the course. Everybody, come on, that's par for the course. Every babyface gets stale after a couple of months. Everybody, but Jamie Hayter has consistently had the best matches on the women's roster. She is the most over with the audience week in and week out. I think she so far in 2023, I think she would be number one. Yes, Tony Storm can give her a run for her money, and you said people like Athena, Britt Baker's always in that top spot as well. But I think for me, it's Jamie Hayter.
See, Lewis, I see why you picked Jamie. But when I'm thinking of like female wrestler of the year or the top female wrestler in the company, Tony is your champion right now. And Jamie's run wasn't that great. It wasn't that impactful. She barely wrestled. She was really over with the crowd. Listen, I'm going to give Jamie that. She was really over with the crowd, more over than Tony and Athena. But when I'm thinking of like just overall package from the look to the skill to the mic as well, I think Athena and Tony have done the best in transforming themselves into a character that fits really well for the moment of what they're doing. And both of them are champions in their respective brands also. So I dig Jamie. I like Jamie a lot. Jamie, early in the year and last year had some of the best matches of the females that we're talking about. But man, I don't know. Jamie was high on my list, Lou. I'm not gonna lie. She was high on my list. I just didn't put her. I didn't put her in because her championship run just wasn't that impactful for me.
That's a good point. Good point. Then again, who had an impactful reign as AEW Women's World Champion? I think
Britt
maybe
Baker.
Britt Baker
Yeah,
because of
Britt.
the level of exposure that she put on the product. And I mean, I guess, right? Because I
Yeah,
don't
definitely Britt.
really, when I think of AEW Women's World Champion, she's probably the most impactful one. Jamie Hayter, I'm gonna say this:
Yeah.
it's very hard for any babyface to carry a company, whether you're a champion or not. It's just difficult, man, because it's not like back in the day where it was easy to cheer a babyface because back in the day they were clear cut Good guys, clear cut bad guys.
Oh yeah,
Clear cut
100%.
heels, clear cut baby face. There was no gray area stuff. And I feel that you get a lot more of the gray area character work with some of the talent. And it's just downright challenging to keep that up when you're a baby face. I feel if Jamie Hayter was a heel, she would have had a much better reign as world champ women's champion.
Do you
But
think
she's
she would
injured
be?
now, so she's gonna be out for a while.
You think she would be that? You think she still be that over though?
Oh yeah, I mean her
Yeah.
heel work is what got her over in the first place. Her association with Britt Baker, that's what got her over in the first place. So they
Yeah,
had no
but then
choice
she
but to
turned.
put her
But then
as a
she
baby face.
turned really quick to like a likable face at one point. Like that Britt Baker run with her when she was doing that run with Britt, it was for a while, but she didn't start getting cheered till the tail end of it.
Yeah,
Um, so after that, she did pivot to that face turn. So I don't know, man. Hey, listen, I definitely don't disagree with your pick, man. I dig the Jamie pick. It makes sense. I could definitely not put up Britt Baker on there. I think Britt is overrated. After seeing her week after week, she's still not good in the mic. She's still not that great in the ring. Um, she's just very clunky. She looks very slow. The thing she's got going for her is that she's an AEW original and she's got stock in the game with the crowd, so the people love her. But the tangibles, the fundamentals, just ain't hitting, Lewis. They just ain't hitting.
well she hasn't really wrestled all that much this year anyway. So she's not really in contention to be number one female wrestler of the year in 2023.
Yeah,
She's
yeah,
been nursing injuries and things like that, and she hasn't had any title runs. So, but I can agree with the overrated thing. I got a soft spot for Britt Baker. I always have.
yeah, yeah.
She's very likable, but I do feel that in her spot she's overrated. I
Definitely.
don't I don't think I don't think she really deserved to be top dog in the women's division for that long,
No.
like the way she was. But that's a topic for another time.
Now, Lewis, let me give you my men's pick.
Oh,
My men's pick. I got to give it to him. Your boy Kenny Omega.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa, Quixote, what's going on here?
yeah, Lewis.
Again, I was not expecting that. What? I gotta
I'm a
hear this.
I'm a believer, Lewis. Let me tell you something. Kenny Omega, not only did he come back this year looking better than ever, looking like he was in his prime again, but he looks healed. His body looks great. The guy is a ring master. He makes everything look good. He makes the other guys look good. His matches, this past match with Will Ospreay at Forbidden Door was just amazing. I think the guy is the best wrestler on that roster by far. The only thing he needs to sort of work on is the promo, but the promo that he does is what Kenny does, right? It's just Kenny. Kenny's not a Kenny's just he's a quirky guy, right? His promo is not going to be Gunther serious or Ric Flair enthused. Like it's not any of that. It's a special type of promo that he relates to the crowd. He kind of breaks character a little bit in kayfabe. Like he kind of just goes out there and does whatever he does. I think that's the only thing he needs to do is kind of. I'd like to see a more cerebral, serious Kenny. I think that would be interesting. But other than that, man, Kenny Omega gets my vote, man. I think Kenny is dope. I think he's got a lot left to do. Um, yeah, I think we throw him right back in that championship picture and go from there, bro.
I am floored. My jaw is just dropping. I mean, this you're the person who was
Oh,
sour on Kenny Omega or not super entirely convinced for the past 2-3 years. But wow, what a complete 180. I wish we had a live studio audience because I'd prompt them to clap and clap and cheer right now. Uh
now
but
let me tell you
I
something, Lewis. My runner-up was Samoa Joe.
oh yeah. I would I
Samoa's
can't
been
agree with
doing
that.
So he's been doing some of the best work in his career in
True.
AEW.
That is true. That
Some of
is
the
true.
best. But that was my runner up.
I'm totally okay with that. I was not expecting Kenny Omega. I don't think I would put him number one for me so far for
Interesting.
2023, but he would definitely be in my top three. Like if I had to consider, he would be in my top 3 to 5. Like if I had to consider, it's just because Kenny Omega's been in more tag matches this year than he has singles matches. But
Right.
I'm glad that you're finally sold on him because Kenny, he's just amazing. Like that's what he does. Like, going back to your point, he makes others look great. He
Oh
can
yeah.
wrestle a broomstick, and that shit would be a 5-star classic.
Oh yeah.
Uh, and,
100%.
and that should really prompt you and all the listeners to go and subscribe to NJPW World, even if you're only going to keep it for a month and then cancel. Go back and revisit some of those absolutely incredible matches with Okada, with Kota Ibushi, with Will Ospreay, with Hiroshi Tanahashi, so on and so forth.
Mm.
With Naito, he's had some fucking bangers with Naito.
Yeah.
So I like your pick. I do like your pick. I do think that Kenny Omega, that time off rejuvenated him. Of course, he needed to heal, but it definitely rejuvenated him. He looks great. He's moving great. And I think putting him back at some point in the world title picture is going to be good for the company.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
My pick, though,
Yeah. Who you got, Lewis? AEW
I
side.
thought about this. John Moxley crossed my mind because I think everything that John Moxley does is gold. He has just been in his element over the past 2-3 years. Like he's phenomenal, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
not
Yeah.
the most scientific wrestler on the roster,
Mhm.
but when you hear the name John Moxley, you see him on television, he has a presence. Like this guy is AEW. Like he is all about violence. And yes, the blood can be a little gratuitous in his matches, but it's him. Like,
Yeah.
it's fully John Moxley. Like he has just embraced this badass, no nonsense, grungy, violent kind of character, and I love it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
However, I'm gonna give number one to MJF.
Ooh.
For my
Okay.
money, MJF is the number one wrestler of the year so far in AEW. Not just because he's world champion, but because he is another guy who has really taken ownership of his heel character. So no matter where he goes, what he says, what he does, he is a full, complete asshole.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
What?
I think that is awesome because you don't see that anywhere in this day and age. Everywhere he goes, you want to just smack the shit out of him because of the things that comes out of his mouth. Like he's just cocky, he's arrogant, he's conceited, he's brash. He just doesn't give a fuck. He
Oh
has no
yeah.
regard for children in the audience. That is just outstanding heel work, and he has just been absolutely incredible over the past year. And
Oh
not
yeah.
to mention,
Yeah.
he's had great matches. That Iron Man match that he had with Bryan Danielson is still one of my favorite matches of the year. He's the complete package right now. He looks ripped. He looks like he's in tip top shape. The stuff that's going on with Adam Cole right now is very intriguing. Like I think he's doing his part as world champion, as the top heel in the company. So yes, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, number one wrestler of the year on the AEW roster for me.
I cannot disagree with that, my brother. That's I mean, listen, man, he lives the gimmick. I tell you that. He lives the gimmick from, like you said, innocent children being, popcorn being smacked out of the hands, to the gum being thrown in your face, to your sign that you spend hours making being ripped up all of a sudden. MJF is the quintessential heel, greatest heel of the last few years, man. I can't even, yeah, of the last, do we dare say 5 to 10 years, Lewis?
Oh, dude, there, man, no heel has touched him
Yeah.
in recent years. You can make the argument that Switchblade Jay White, Roman to a certain degree, but like really heelish tendencies and heelish attributes. MJF takes the cake, bro. From like the last, at the minimum, the last 5 years, like he absolutely takes the cake.
Yeah, I cannot disagree with that, man. Cannot disagree with that.
Well, those are our all elite wrestling male and female wrestlers of the year. So Quixote's picks, Athena on the women's side, and Kenny Omega on the men's side. Lewis's picks, MJF on the men's side, Jamie Hayter on the female side. Now let's switch gears, my friend. Let's switch gears to World Wrestling Entertainment.
Yes, this one was hard, Lewis. I'm not gonna lie. I'm still
Yeah,
thinking about it.
I agree. I think this one is a lot harder.
I got two names, and they're the two names. One of them because I'm entertained by every match he's in, and the other is because he's proven to be the company workhorse that can go out there and still deliver great matches. My pick is none other than the Ring Gunther.
Wow.
Gunther,
So
uh,
Gunther. What is it? Is it Gunther?
Gunther.
So Gunther is formerly known as Walter. He's your number one guy for 2023.
My number one guy, man.
Intercontinental champion.
Yeah, I don't know how we can the obvious choice would have been Roman. I love Roman. I think Roman is doing amazing work right now. I think this is the best stuff he's ever done, obviously.
Yeah.
But when you got Gunther on the other side, who's wrestling persona, he's a champion, the look, the he doesn't even need to really speak on the mic. Every match he's had has delivered, from the match with uh oh man, Sheamus, which was great. His matches back in NXT. I mean,
The
they've all
triple
been
threat
bangers.
match
The
at
triple threat,
WrestleMania.
yeah, the triple threat match at WrestleMania. They've all been bangers, man. He's great, and I think he's if you're gonna pick wrestler of the year, um, you gotta broaden the horizons a little bit, Lewis, and look beyond the big championship and see what your mid guys are doing. And Gunther, man, that I got to give it to him. He's the best. He's the best.
I'm not mad at that pick at all. Gunther is well deserving of that pick. I could sit here and try to argue against it, but all of your points are very valid. His work rate is top notch. He is such a force to be reckoned with from the moment he walks out onto the stage to the
Yeah,
moment he gets into the ring. He like Gunther is the total package of a dominant superstar.
yeah. The
And
music,
I can't
everything, the
wait.
look, everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He has the total package. I can't wait until, and you know what? And that's with him losing weight and getting into more in ring shape. Because remember when he
Yeah.
was Walter, he was a little huskier.
Mm-hmm.
He had more flab, but it still came across as realistic. Like, like he'll still legitimately fuck you up.
Yeah.
Now he just looks more chiseled, but he still looks like he can fuck you up.
Yeah.
So yeah, Gunther is great. He definitely is. If he's not my number one, he's for sure in my top three
Okay.
because isn't he like the longest reigning IC champion in the last 10 years or something?
I believe so. If it's not him, I think it might be still Jericho.
Well,
But
I'll tell you what,
I believe it's him.
they're gonna have to make it a huge deal the day he drops that title. Because I say keep it going, man. Like, keep that IC title on him. Because if anything, he's elevating the title, and the title is elevating him.
Oh yeah.
Like you said,
And
the promo work is not really that much of a big deal because he just has such an imposing presence. And I want to see eventually Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. That's money. That is
mm,
fucking money right there.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, and then eventually, even beyond that, I want to see Gunther versus Roman.
Yeah.
Again,
Gunther versus Roman. Yeah.
you got a lot of money matches with Gunther, and that right there that's indicative of his work in 2023.
Yeah.
Like he is just that relatable, imposing figure that you can go to. Like, all right, we need a solid main event that we know is going to be a good match and we know is going to sell on paper. With Gunther in there, and you know you're going to get a banger for sure.
Mhm.
So I ain't mad at that pick. You see, for me, I didn't have. It was hard. I kept on going back and forth. I didn't really have a number one pick, but I had candidates.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I can say Roman Reigns. That's pretty much like everybody's pick. Like that's the obvious one. But another pick, is Seth Rollins. I mean, it goes without saying, Seth Rollins has been one of the top workhorses in WWE for a long time.
Yeah.
And really he's really refined his character to be very amusing.
That was
Like
my
he's got
runner up.
this, yeah, he's got like this Joker thing going on, but it's not so overtly Joker-esque because it's just like a Seth Rollins. I don't know. It's hard to explain. Like with the wardrobe, the outlandish attire, the obnoxious laugh, and he can
Yeah.
still go in the ring. Like he's still the reliable Seth Rollins that we all know and love. So I could easily put him number one. There's a reason why he's the world heavyweight champion, and
Oh
I
yeah.
could easily put him in that top spot. Sami Zayn is another guy. In the first quarter of the year, phenomenal work with the bloodline. And now he's relegated to tag team, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. You
No,
know what I'm
not at all.
saying?
Not at all.
Sami Zayn has become one of the top stars in the company.
Hmm.
Another guy that I could put in that slot too as number one wrestler. You probably gonna be like, well, might be a controversial pick, but
Oh,
Dominic
wow.
Mysterio has
That's a
what the fuck, man? You want to talk about a heat magnet? Dominic Mysterio he's been incredible this year. Like everything that he's done has been awesome, like
I agree.
absolutely awesome.
I agree. I agree. I think
Yeah,
Dominic, yeah,
yeah.
I
So
agree.
those would be some of my picks. Like I don't think I can settle on just one guy, but if I had to settle on one guy, it's gonna be Gunther, Seth, or a cross between Sami Zayn and Dominic.
Mm.
I can't. It's
Oh,
hard for me to settle on who the number one wrestler of the year for 2023 is.
those are all good picks because,
Oh,
like you were
Cody.
mentioning,
Cody's another guy. I'm sorry. Yes, Cody's another guy too.
I didn't do Cody because Cody is still relatively new this stage of his WWE career. And listen, I love Cody actually. I have no issues with Cody. I think he's great. I think he has a great mind for the business. I think he knows what he's doing. What he knows. I think he knows wrestling. So he was up there too. It was Gunther, Seth, and Cody. For me. So I ain't mad at none of your picks, my brother, because all of them had impactful first quarter, uh, um, um, first quarter highlights, which were amazing. Cody had his with Roman.
Yeah,
Then you had Seth. Then you had Gunther doing his thing with the IC title. Sammy doing amazing work with the bloodline. Like it was just a lot of stuff. We got something that we haven't gotten in a long time, Lewis, and that was like meaningful stories before Mania hit. Like
yeah,
things that we went into because we went to Mania, man. We went crazy with the outcome of the Cody match because it told a great story and then the ending was unpredictable. So we were surprised, right? And that's what the first quarter gave us. It was all surprises and stuff. And summertime, there's a lull in development and all that stuff. But again, all good picks by you, my brother. I can't complain about none of those picks. But I don't think you'll complain about my women's pick.
Oh, I have a
Uh,
feeling who you're gonna say, and it's probably gonna be my same pick too.
I don't know how we can't pick Rhea Ripley, my brother.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think
I
that is
mean,
unanimous across the entire wrestling community. How do you not consider Rhea Ripley number one female wrestler of the year for WWE so
yeah,
far? She's
easy.
she's firing on all cylinders. Like I feel there's nobody in her league right now on that women's roster. In that women's division, name me someone who has come remotely close to the work that Rhea Ripley has done in 2023.
I couldn't even
I'll wait.
yeah, I couldn't even create a name for you, my brother. I couldn't even do it.
Yeah, I mean, you got your Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch. You know, they're all doing decent work, and Trish Stratus is doing pretty good too. But Rhea Ripley's in a league of her own right now, man. Like, I wouldn't even put Charlotte in that same category. Then again, Charlotte's kind of part time these days. But yeah, Rhea is it. Like, she is her.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? She's got the look. She comes across as a badass. If you put her in an intergender match, she would make a
Hmm.
convincing argument that she could whoop the dude's ass and become universal undisputed champion or what have you.
Yeah.
She she's got like a weird type of sex appeal, like
Yes.
a freaky grungy kind of sex appeal that a lot of guys like, quite frankly. So I don't think there's much of an argument there.
Listen, I can dig it, man. I I like Rhea a lot. I think she encompasses everything you said, and more. The only thing that is lost with Rhea just slightly, which I think I think I think it'll come as she grows in this character, right? I want to see her move set get a little more um diabolical almost, right? Like almost cerebral, um hard hitting, strong style meets like uh violent Moxley-esque kind of thing without the blood. You get what I'm saying? Like, you know, really impose dominance. Which she has done in the ring. I'm not saying she hasn't. But I want to see a little more. I think you can extract a little more where you're like, okay, she is definitely dangerous. Um, and still keep her. I mean, it's the crowd loves her. She gets cheered even in her heelish ways. So you could do that move and it can still be receptive to the universe or the WWE universe or whatever. So yeah, I listen, Rhea again, to me, there was no other pick. And on the women's side, Lewis, on the WWE side, it was a lot tougher to find someone who was actually really good, which I don't know if that is not a good thing. So because I'm tired of Charlotte. I can speak for myself. I'm tired of Charlotte. If Charlotte's going to be there, she needs to revitalize and be like someone different. Uh uh Bianca needs a redo or a remake or a re-up or whatever. She needs to a repackaging fully. Asuka's cool, but she's boring. Nothing exciting there. And then you got Becky, who's there and boring. And like there's nothing exciting. Bailey's just there and not exciting. Like Rhea's the only one. Rhea's the only one.
I think with you saying that, I think there needs to be an influx of new women, like new female talent,
Yeah,
because everybody
100%.
that you named, not so much Bianca, but everybody that you named is already an established icon or veteran. Oscar,
Hmm.
Bailey, Charlotte, Becky. They have been around for so long that there's really nothing left for them to do unless they do a complete repackaging. Like, I don't know why they stopped with the big time Bex. I was really digging the big time Bex character, and that
Yeah,
was kind of short lived. But I
yeah.
feel like that was good because she, like her husband, had the outlandish attire. She switched up her look as far as like her hair and things like that. But then she went back to being the man. But the man was like a thing of like, pre-COVID. Like that was
Hmm.
already kind of long ago, 2018, 2019, going on 2020. I feel like they should have rolled a little more with the big time Bex gimmick.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they stopped that prematurely. And when she came back at SummerSlam beating Bianca in like 2 seconds, uh that could have been the time where they really did something different with her. And she was still over at the time. I mean, she was huge. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if people are kind of tired and just worn out with her or if there's no interest. But I think there needs to be something done ASAP, Lewis, because
I'm telling you,
she runs the risk. of getting turned on quick.
But I'm telling you, there needs to be an infusion of more female talent because the
Yeah,
ones that are already established, like there's nothing left for them to do. Like Charlotte can only turn babyface and heel so many damn times. She's
right.
flip-flopped a lot. Like I don't know currently. If you ask me if Charlotte was a heel or a babyface, I don't know. I don't know. We know Bailey's a heel, but let's be honest here. She hasn't exactly set the world on fire with this whole damage control thing.
No,
Bianca's not turning heel, but she could do something different, right? To make it more interesting. Asuka, whether she's a heel or a babyface, she's peaked already. There's nothing, she's not gonna do anything else. I
hmm
feel like if you put all of those women on the AEW roster, woo, it would be like a breath of fresh air for them and for the audience. But they're WWE gals.
right.
I feel like you need to really, this is where NXT comes into play. You got to really start working with your female talent down there because that's essentially going to be, those are going to be the women who carry the company to the next generation.
Yeah,
Much like how when they called up the four horsewomen, right? Banks, Becky, etc. Look how look what they did for the women's division in the company for years.
that's
But
true.
it's already reached its apex. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do with those women. So that's why I feel like Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, those two are kind of in a league of their own until we start getting more like fresh faces on the roster.
Oh yeah, I agree with you, man. That's a good point. Until that happens, the women in NXT gotta step their game up because none of them are ready for the top spot yet, or
No.
even close to coming up to the main roster. And that's okay because you're in developmental. So, they got the Zoe Stark, who's a very good worker. She just needs some mic work and a character. You got some people on the main roster who can and have potential. It's up to the company to see the value and really push that, man, because you're right, there needs to be an influx of some freshness. Getting kind of stale seeing Becky and boring as Becky constantly doing the same old moves and same old look and same old blah blah. I've never been high on Becky Lynch, bro. Never been high on her.
I've always liked
Uh,
Becky Lynch, but her
just
appeal is dwindling with me. Like I don't
dwindling.
really find her that appealing, and then like she's lost a lot of weight, so she doesn't. She looks kind of funny to me. Like
Yeah, yeah.
she just doesn't look like a superstar like the way she once did.
No, no, not at
You know,
all.
like
She doesn't do it.
she can dye her hair multiple times, but I just yeah, this is the first time where I can honestly say that Becky's not really doing it for me anymore.
Mm-hmm. Dude, I mean, you got the likes of a Chelsea Green, in my opinion, who's got it all. She's just not that great in the ring yet.
Yeah.
I think she'll be better, but those type of personalities who can be in front of a camera and look comfortable, that's huge. So, if they really cultivate those stars, those superstars, then maybe they might have a division. But until then, it's very, very stale, my brother. Just like the AEW product in the women's division is just horrible, horrific women's side on AEW. So they got some work to do.
Well, let's see what both companies do in the second half of 2023. Now that we're through with the first half of the year. But those are our picks, man. We'll see how the rest of the year plays out. And these are obviously some developing stories. So we'll see who ends the year ultimately as the number one male wrestler and the number one female wrestler for both companies.
Yes,
But
sir.
on that note, that concludes this edition of On the Mark Wrestling Podcast with Quixote and Lewis. Until next time, everybody.
Peace.